to create a strong brand image. Furthermore, also reaching out to local campers. There's 3 campsites that are close by Glengarry Beehive, so it means that traveling to them won't take up too much of their time either. So by going down selling their products would be a good idea, and also building a good relationship with campsite owners will be mutually beneficial, and will also create a great opportunity for selling more Levac products at retail. Furthermore, tourists would also be a great opportunity to target. Tourists, about 4,000, out of the 4,000 excess population that occurs in Cornwall over the summer, tourists tend to be a major part of it. So targeting them would be a good idea. They come into Cornwall, obviously, bus, cars and stuff, so I think it would be a good idea to have to have leaflets there, so that as soon as, like in bus terminals, train stations, service points, so as soon as they enter Cornwall, you'll be able to increase awareness of the business right there and then. I'll pass over to Philip, who will then conclude the presentation. Thanks.
Thanks, Natasha. So just to conclude and wrap things up, our aim was to create meaningful solutions that could be easily implemented and that allowed Joanne and Mark to really focus on adding value and growing their companies. We also wanted to create recommendations which were relevant and feasible given the time and liquidity pressures that are faced by the small businesses. And finally, just to conclude on a personal level, we feel like KIS gave us an opportunity to provide a meaningful impact on a scale that was manageable both for us as consultants and for the clients that we are working for. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and we'll look forward to answering any questions you may have.
Now, we're very honored to have Mark and Joanne Louderback with us today. They are the owners of Levac Apiaries and the Glengarry Beehive, and we're very pleased to have them because part of this business came out of their involvement with the Farm Fresh, which was a local marketing initiative, partly coordinated by the Stormont Dundas Glengarry CFDC, who partner with us on this project. And they're also a great example of a very traditional business, third-generation agricultural business, taking on a new idea to establish one of Eastern Ontario's first 100-kilometer local food retail outlets. So we're very pleased to invite you and Joanne. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to start by I'd just like to thank Natasha and Philip very much, as well as Queen's University and the CFDC. They've all been an enormous help for us to not only get this venture off the ground, but to keep it going. I'm sure everyone knows when you start a new idea, one that doesn't fall into too many pre-established categories, it's quite nerve-wracking. I'd like to start just by telling our story a little bit. As was mentioned, Levac Apiaries has been producing honey in the same location since 1945, started by my wife's grandfather, and he just liked bees, and to support his habit, he sold some jars of honey on the side. He was also a bee inspector and kept busy in other ways. But this really started to grow. He started to build a following. He had some really important fundamentals for the products that he sold to people, and a lot of his customers learned that if they had any questions, he would be more than happy to answer them, and they could count on that. This is pretty much what my father and mother-in-law took over from Lionel Levac, Marcel and Mary Levac, in 1970. Thank you. Took over the company and took it a lot further from just being a bit of a sideline, selling some honey, invested in a large amount of stainless steel and pumps and all sorts of other things to kind of turn this into a business. But again, really focusing on the fundamentals of providing the best possible product and to be accountable to the people that ate their product. So for myself, I was never a beekeeper. My father had a few colonies when I was younger and got stung really bad and sold them that year. And that was my experience. I got stung too, not that badly. So I got into computers, and I was actually working for the federal government for about 7 years, doing things, making a decent living. And Joanne, out of school, was working in social services, and we were doing all right. But there was a lack of fulfillment, I guess you would say, in what we did to bring in our weekly paycheck. We came together one day just by chance. A mutual friend told me there was a party, and I went and I met this saucy redhead, and we fell in love, and this all kind of developed on the side as we continued on our careers. But as part of courting my future wife, I needed to get in good with a future father-in-law. So I decided to offer my assistance to help him with his bees, and really that's all it was about. I just wanted to get to know him a little better. Anyway, I guess a couple years later it started becoming a habit, and I really got into bees. These are really fascinating little creatures. I don't have a university degree or a research background. I leave that to people smarter than me. I just really like being a beekeeper. So when Joanne's parents decided to kind of retire and walk away from it, Joanne and I made the tough choice to buy the company. And it was a tough choice for a number of reasons. One is we were parents, and nothing polarizes your worldview like having a little baby in diapers and screaming and needing your every moment's attention. I probably, in hindsight, should have stayed with the government because it'd be a lot easier to raise the kids. But part of it also isn't making sure they have good clothes, but also see that their parents are happy and very comfortable and confident in what they do. So anyway, long story short, we bought the business, not really knowing too much about it from a business standpoint. We had seen it for many years on how it worked. Joanne's parents were reasonably successful and had a comfortable lifestyle, at least as far as we were concerned. And we both had the educational background required to start into bees. There's quite a bit of learning for the bee world, and as we're learning more and more, selling food is also has its challenges, especially in Canada. We're very regulated here. So, but anyway, we bit the bullet and decided to buy the business and go ahead with it. The state of beekeeping has changed a lot over the last few decades. I speak to some of the older beekeepers, and they tell me stories about not really caring too much about the livestock, the honeybee, because it was very cheap to replace them. They normally take care of themselves pretty good. If they happen to die over the winter, you could buy a new beehive for under $10 and just replace what died off and carry on. Fast forward to now, bees have been steadily dying all over the world. Here in Ontario is no exception. The provincial average is almost tripled, actually, in winter mortality for honeybees. When we bought the company, we bought 550 colonies with the company. I currently have about 86 left. So this is, we were talking about market stresses. We're not the only ones. Just buying honey from other beekeepers is difficult and very expensive. So I guess I'm bringing this up because, you kind of need to love this business to turn this into a business. I could happily have a colony or two in the backyard and work for the government, and that's some days I consider that. But it's a real blessing to be able to earn a living doing what you love, and that's why we're keeping at it. So just rewind to 2008 November. We were invited by the CFDC to showcase our products at the Royal Winter Fair in Toronto, and we were really flattered. I mean, we're just farmers, right? We're putting some honey in a jar. Who would want to really talk to us, but we tried our best. We made a really nice presentation there, and it went extremely well. So well, in fact, that Loblaws had a representative there that was interested in putting President's Choice on one of our products. So as you can probably guess, it didn't cost us any fuel to get home. We just flew all the way. We were just ecstatic. This was November of 2008, and December's a busy month, and Christmas and all this stuff. And so it wasn't until January that we really kind of refined our approach to expanding to supply Loblaws. And we went to the bank with our ideas. And our banker, who we know personally, listened politely and then shook her head and said, "Haven't you been paying attention? We're not even lending money to GM right now." And to be quite honest, and it's a little embarrassing to admit, but we had not at that time been paying attention to kind of the state of the economy. We just assumed good idea would get funding and we'd just carry on forward. Very key lesson. We're trying really hard to be good beekeepers, to supply a great food, to be good parents. Entrepreneurs and business specialists is way down on our list of the things that we intend to be good at, but we're kind of forced into learning